I finished the bench top. This is really nice. I didn't do much filming with it because really it was just an angle grinder, big slabs of stone and just working away at it. You know, it wouldn't have been a particularly interesting one. So they've been bedded down in a sand and clay mortar to more or less level. Now, there's stones from all over the place in this bench, but these are Caithness flagstone. And this is an amazing material. It's a sedimentary rock. It lies under all of Caithness. And this particular slab here, you see the slight ripple effect? That's because what I'm actually sitting on here is a 400 million year old lake bed. This was the lake bed of Lake Orcady. And that was, I mean, it was a huge landmass, very dry. But the lowest spot in that huge landmass was a massive lake that stretched from Moray to the south through Caithness, as far north as Shetland and as far west as Greenland. It was massive. But the deepest section of it was right here under Caithness. Well, at level at Caithness. I'm not sure how far down this stuff is, but yeah, Caithness is just underlined with it, and it splits very easily. As the layers built up over time, over, you know, aeons, the pressure and just time consolidated it into this, and apparently it's got a reputation for being a really good frost resistant stone, which isn't true of the stuff that's higher up in the landscape here. I've tried building with that rock and it just crumbles. This stuff's amazing. It was harvested for centuries. It's there's areas in New York and Manhattan are paved with Caithness stone. The Strand in London is paved with, it went everywhere. It's amazing stuff. And it's been built with for thousands of years. This is the same kind of stone, exactly the same stone as are used in large parts of Scarab Brae up in Orkney, you know, the Neolithic site. It's, you know, got a very old tradition. Now these slabs were actually like a stone wall that they build in Caithness. It's amazing stuff. I like the fact that everywhere you go in the world, the fences and the hedges are made from whatever material's there. And in Caithness, it's slabs of rock. So these things are laid, one just slightly overlapping the other. So each stone can't fall that way because of the stone behind it, won't let it. And it can't fall that way because of the next stone behind it. So that everything locks in place. It's an amazing, almost like a fencing system. Very efficient use of stone. And these things are set in, you know, really deep. And these were cut down, and you can see how big they are. I mean, just 3 slabs to cover this whole piece. Now, just in terms of comfort, apparently cob, if I'd gone with a cob bench, it is slightly more comfortable to sit on than stone. But I'm never going to be sitting directly on it anyway. It's just going to have, you know, all this is going to be cushion. But yeah, it's really nice to get the slab on. This is really nice. I haven't cleaned it down and, you know, oiled it or anything, so it'll look up not nicer than this yet. But there's no point getting it all clean because I've still got to do all the plastering, and that's going to make a big mess. But at this point, all of the mass is currently, you know, on it now. Other than the little bit of skim on this, and that's negligible. But, you know, the bit over the pipes, you know, a little bit of grout to put in, but really, this is all of the mass. And yeah, it's amazing. This heating system is incredible. But yeah, it's generally, these things are built to be something that you can sit on just as a sofa. We've made something that's obviously bigger than that. I mean, if I put my feet out, and I'm 6 foot, bear in mind, you know, my feet actually don't reach, well, just about reach the end of the slab. So with cushioning in on, so you could, you know, have quite a few people, you know, reclining quite comfortable with big cushions behind them and stuff. But also with, you know, minimal structures along the side of it, like a couple of small tables at the right height. This could be a really nice double bed, and of course it's heated from underneath. But because this is such a massive mass, I mean, we could have got away with one that was significantly longer, because of there's a it's in the book. I'm not gonna go into it. You know, if you're going to build one of these, you need the book. So but there is a formula for the length of duct that you can get away with if you're going with the duct system through the bench, and it's significantly longer than this. But because we got constraints of just the space that we had to build in, we had to make it fairly short, and yeah, instead of which we just made it big. But here, very occasionally, we'll get really bad conditions where it'll be significantly below zero and it'll be 40, 50 miles an hour for days at a stretch. When you get days like that, we need to be able to run this thing around the clock, you know, just, you know, not at night, but, you know, get up in the morning, light it and run it all day. And it keeps the house, I mean, incredibly warm, which is something that the old heating system just never did, and it cost a fortune to run. But when we've got it running all day, I don't ever want to reach the stage that especially with insulation on, that this bench is getting too hot and it's starting to threaten the, you know, foam or whatever insulation or whatever fabrics we've got as cushions on here. So this, every part around the ducts has got at least 12 inches of cob. That can absorb a huge amount of heat and just radiate it out. So, I mean, this ran for a good 4 hours last night. We actually got the lounge up to 24 degrees, just because obviously I'm still, you know, drying in the mortar on there, so we run it a bit longer than usual, which is incredibly warm. That's uncomfortably warm for me. But, you know, we were trying to get it bedded in and get things to set up. And currently I'm sitting here and I'm feeling gentle heat from underneath. It's really nice. But it's not hot. You know, you wouldn't say that's, you know, even perceptibly warm to the touch, really. It's just, you know, around body temperature, maybe a little bit cooler, but it'll continue to radiate that heat for a couple of days. We'll have another burn tonight as well, of course, and it'll become stupid hot. But we've got a big cold snap coming up this week, so yeah, it'll be nice when there's a foot of snow on the ground to, you know, have this thing running a little bit, but the winds won't be high, so we won't be running it a great deal. But yeah, that is the slabs in place. And it's really nice to actually sit on it properly for the first time. So next will be the plastering, and then I'm into the polishing of it all. But yeah, I thought it was worth filming at this point, just because this has been a huge step for me.